Theoretical physicist turned agtech entrepreneur Brad Zamft at Google X spinout Heritable Ag is on a mission to make plant breeding dramatically faster and cheaper.
What Heritable provides is the comprehensive solution to improving crops. This spans what I was talking about before, the ability to simulate real plants in real fields. We make digital twins incorporating soil and weather scalably to 10-meter resolution anywhere in the world. We also work on the ability to identify for traits that are controlled by a few or a few dozen genes, to identify the causative genes. And we've shown that we can do that with unprecedented accuracy. Sometimes knowing those genes is not enough. You have to know how to control them, what tissues they should be expressed in, whether to turn them on, whether there's a drought or a heat event. This is where we actually learn from the massive improvements that we've seen in large language models. Just like we know the underlying grammar and syntax of human language, we've incorporated that into models. Heritable now incorporates the grammar and syntax of the DNA language in order to understand the exact bases that are controlling these genes. So I think a differentiation for us between others, some others in the field, is that we provide that comprehensive solution. Digital plants growing in digital fields, working on traits that are sometimes controlled by thousands or tens of thousands of genes, very fine-tuned understanding of the few important genes for certain traits, understanding the important base pairs for control of those traits.
How have you validated your model?
That's another place where I think we're differentiated. You know, everything that I said before about unprecedented biological information and our ability to do all of these things through AI, none of that matters unless it works in a real plant, in a real environment.
Sure.
So we have validated all of our models with real plants growing in real environments. In terms of the digital twin, we work with partners and we've shown that we can simulate the varieties that they've been growing in new environments or environments that they haven't told us about, and that we have high accuracy in creating that digital twin. In terms of the gene discovery functionalities, we actually spent a lot of the time while we were at Google X running the full stack. So we would identify a trait, we would run a field trial, we would extract the tissues, sample the tissues, which is not trivial when you're doing RNA. We would train the model based off of the omics. We would identify the genes, and then we commissioned gene editing. Those plants were gene edited, and we watched them grow, and we saw how the genes that we identified actually did have an effect on the trait that we targeted. We've done that in 3 species so far, and the efficiency numbers make it very clear that we have unprecedented level of accuracy in that gene discovery model.
So which species are you working on, and do you see particular opportunity in certain crops where less work has been done, where we haven't really got all of that information about genes and traits?
I mean, that in some sense is the mission of Heritable. Billions of dollars are spent in agricultural research on 2 species, 2 crops, and 1 trait, corn and soy yield. We recognized in the early days that once you move out of the major species, it's the Wild West in terms of understanding the genome. So we spent a lot of time, again, learning what field trials, how you run a field trial in an efficient, cost-efficient way to get the right omics, how to build the model architectures that are efficient so you don't have to have a huge spend on compute. We spent our time at Google X figuring out how to do this for the rest of the agricultural world. All of the other wonderful species that we rely on for food and nutrition, vegetables, forestry, all of these things are unlocked if you can lower the cost and accelerate the timelines, and that's what we've been developing. I mean, we'll work with anybody who wants to improve crops, and that takes multiple forms. Sometimes it's as simple as giving a license to our software tool that allows breeders that have an existing collection of genetics and have them simulate new environments so that they can increase their market share, they can mitigate climate risk, they can mitigate geopolitical risk. Sometimes we work in a traditional trait licensing model where we'll identify the strategy to improve a trait, and then there'll be a royalty on the improved trait. And then what's really exciting is our work with Red Sun Farms, where we're actually working in a real bona fide partnership where we're going to create a new improved strawberry variety 4 years, start to finish, and together we will share in the value of those improved varieties. Traditionally, when you use a linear statistical models, you have to make some sacrifices. You either have to focus extremely on yield to push yield improvement faster, or other things. If you try to do them both at the same time, you make progress, but you don't make as fast progress as you could on either one. Artificial intelligence allows us to do better than that. We can make more progress faster on multiple traits, and in some cases, having the models more constrained by focusing on multiple traits makes the model better. What that means is that in our strawberry program and in many programs, we're focusing on many traits. These include grower traits, things like yield, things like disease resistance, but it also includes consumer traits, things like flavor, fruit architecture, color, etc.
With your approach, I guess you could use this to inform a traditional kind of breeding process or a gene editing process. You've just got that initial kind of data that could inform whatever process perhaps your partners want to use, right?
That's right. That's why I call it the comprehensive solution to crop improvement. There are certain traits that need breeding. They're called quantitative traits. There's thousands of low effect size genes that control that trait. It's not going to be easy to affect that through a CRISPR pipeline. Breeding is here to stay. The incorporation of the environment is an incredibly complicated task, and the way we've solved that is through our digital twin simulations. There's also markets that are just not going to tolerate gene editing, either regulatory or through the court of public opinion. Now, there's the other side. There are some traits that are really going to be accelerated through a gene editing or other targeted mutagenesis pipeline. CRISPR is not the only solution to being able to make an edit exactly where you want. So we also provide the ability to improve and accelerate, lower the cost and accelerate the timelines of those pipelines. We have disclosed partnerships with Syngenta, KWS, ArborGen, which is a tree nursery, Red Sun Farms. Recently, we received a $5 million grant from the Gates Foundation to improve corn, to use the entire might and magic of all of the computational tools I just told you about, all of it, to improve corn for the sub-Saharan smallholder farmer. It's really amazing when you think about how to improve a crop, it often takes upwards of a decade and sometimes even like $100 million to improve crops. That's a major limitation to our food system. I'm going to make a bold, ambitious claim. I think we're going to make a new strawberry variety on supermarket shelves, 4 years, start to finish, for a few $1 million. And this is just the beginning.